A week ago, I worked with a new client who's a psychologist. Her session was very interesting from the very beginning. She reached out to me first, asking me some questions, not necessarily actually to, but for her own inner self. She wrote, "Hello, I am a psychologist with a doctorate. I recently had a first-time experience in which I met someone whom I believe I knew in a past life. The relationship was intense and tumultuous. It has thrown me for a loop, and I'd like to explore it. So here are her questions. Can I find out if I did know this person? What is the meaning of meeting them in this life? Those kinds of things. Thank you, Heather." So I responded, the answer is yes, indeed. That's what past life regression sessions offer, to bring the subconscious connection that you already feel into conscious awareness so you can make more informed choices in this life moving forward. The intensity might be the residual energy from some past stories. Through the process, we can clear up some old energies. So Heather booked 3 sessions, and last week we worked on the first one online since I had already arrived here in Holland. What came up was very insightful. In that past life, they were childhood friends, as their families lived on the same street. They were almost inseparable. However, when they got into their teenage years, he started to pull away. He started to distance himself. So she never knew why. So as a therapist, I was curious. So I asked that past life personality, that was Heather's why. And the best she could say was maybe something happened in his family or to his family. That's all she could tell me. Or maybe Heather was not comfortable disclosing that information to me. There's something going on there. However, on the surface level, in that past life, she just took it as it came, as if nothing happened. It could be because of the pride, could be something else. And she moved on, and she grew up. She went to a college as he stayed in the town. So for the rest of her life, she could not forget about him. Still not knowing exactly what happened. They were not connected anymore in their day-to-day life. But of course, I could tell in our session there was definitely a soul connection there, which was not honored on a human level. So that was a seed of imbalanced energy in that moment. And towards her end of her life, on the deathbed, normally I ask the question, knowing what you now know, if you could do this life again, would you do anything differently? Her answer was yes. She would have gone to him and asked him what happened, why he distanced himself from her childhood inseparable friends, close friends. And I could see, still without knowing why, it could be pride, it could be something else. It could be something that Heather in that past life was not comfortable disclosing to the therapist. But there was that seed of imbalanced energy, and that needs to clear up. So more work needs to be done. I can tell to clear up the emotions, negative emotions such as anger, abandonment, resentment, sadness, all of that. But definitely there was a soul connection between them. It's surprising, this kind of connections happen quite a lot. Well, at least in my work. And for most people, it's quite confusing, as if what we have learned that we need similar background, similar education, or similar interest to connect, that doesn't apply anymore. When this kind of connection happens, it defies what we think we know, or what we think it should be, or what we are able to explain. It's a feeling that is so intense, so illogical and so unexplainable, but so real. Many people, they end up trying to talk themselves out of it or rationalize this feeling away. Now, even though they may seem to succeed at times, what they actually do is simply suppress them or cover them up for whatever reason. And there are some other people, they choose to do something about it, like my new client, Heather, the psychologist. Exploring past life regression is definitely one of the things you can do something about, because it's so beyond the linear mind. For one thing, this kind of connection, this kind of experience can cause spiritual awakening. It pushes you out of your linear mind, so you go non-linear and you go explore what's beyond what you think you know, what you have made of your own identity or reality. So you go beyond all of that and to realize your true nature, the timeless self, the without past and future. These kind of connections cause us to pause, to inquire, to reflect. Eventually, this kind of connections can lead us to the greatest connection of all, the connection within ourselves, between me and me. Depending on the different stages and the different backgrounds, I suppose, it's very easy, very common to call this kind of connections a soulmate or twin flames. These are all beautiful names and very accurate in a sense. However, when we put a label to such a connection, the mind starts to kick in, to come in and to take it over. And the mind's job is to categorize and rationalize everything. And so it starts to do its own thing, and the mind starts to project a lot of agendas to this connection, a lot of hopes and a lot of expectations. And all of this can eventually lead to disappointment, and which will lead us to a lot of explanations. Remember, this connection to start with is unexplainable, but then it will lead to a lot of explanations, justifications, or even stories. Many stories will be told, and all of this will actually take us out of the connection itself, and so will inevitably create some sufferings and misery. Through hypnotherapy, we can discover the source of such connection, what happened in another life, in another story with the same soul. The stories can be always twisted and complicated. However, through my work over and over, I have discovered the learning or the lessons some people call are quite simple. In Heather's story, in that recent lifetime, they were close as childhood friends, even though when they live on the same street, there were other kids to hang out with, but two of them felt very close with each other. Then one day something happened. He pulled away from her, and she was hurt, understandably, but she was also curious. But then she suppressed her curiosity, never went to ask him why. Maybe she was too proud to do that. Then she moved away, and then they grew up, and she went back to visit the town a few times, and she even saw him a few times. Every time when she saw him, she could still feel that closeness for him. However, the emotional distance lasted till the last moment of her life. I was quite pleased with Heather's soul's wisdom by suggesting that if she could do it again, she would have gone and asked him directly what happened. Luckily, in this life, Heather is still alive. and she can still give herself in this life the second chance. Today, another raining day, but it didn't stop the annual Pride Parade in Amsterdam, and actually the world's most unique one, Paradise in canal style. They just flowed by. Yes, it's all about connections. Being human, finding each other, no matter what gender, what skin color, what religious background, what age, what kind of bodies. Let's celebrate.